Hello, everybody, and welcome to Quantum Leap Revisited, a show that we do once a week where we talk about the classic Quantum Leap series, Quantum Leap, starring Scott Bakula and Dean Stockwell. And if you happen to have noticed, I kind of am here by myself today. And I think that the reason for it is that everybody got stuck at work. And I think that one person is perhaps under the weather. And that's okay. I am pretty prepared. I rewatched the episode just a few hours ago, and of course, I've seen it a few times. So I guess you'll hear more strange voices from me. I hope you can hear me now. Yeah, I was on mute at the beginning, although I'm not quite sure why, but now I unmuted. Sometimes things happen that are strange. So we're gonna do what we do today. I see a lot of great people in the chat. It's nice to see Tracy and Lisa back and all the regulars that we see here. And okay, thanks, Marla. Marla sent me the script for today, so that'll be helpful. So when I do strange videos, okay, yeah, I got the script, so that's good too. And now let me find the video file, which is also good. And before, oh shoot, where is that video file? Only the best technology on this channel. Down here it's supposed to be, I think. Let me see. Okay, I think I found it. Yep, this is good. So before we jump into, oh wait, Script Doctor is here.
Hey,
Ooh, what a relief!
hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
I literally had to speed here as well because this morning I had to rewrite an entire episode and I just submitted it, and I was like, oh, I got to get on to QL tonight, and I'm so happy I made it. Although I have to go off of memory for this episode because I did not have time to watch it, sadly.
It's okay. I'll do some silly voices, and by the way, I'll put the link that Marla sent me. You have other links maybe for scripts, but I'll just put it here in the private chat, and you can.
Sure.
I'm trying to private chat. Okay, so I'll put it here. In any case, I actually, this is an episode that I haven't seen many times. I watched it initially during the original run, then maybe once I watched it aside from that, and now I watched it again. So this is probably the third time I've ever watched the episode, and I didn't quite remember how I felt about it. I thought that there were maybe issues with it, and actually when I watched it, I felt better about it than I thought I would. It was a better episode than what I remembered it was.
I mean, it's definitely got an interesting hook because this is the first time that Sam is outside of his own lifetime.
Right. And first of all, it's a hook, but they tried something like that with that vampire one that he's like in a place that he's in London. I don't know where he was supposed to be, but that one just was dumb. And they never explained why he was in London or when he was in Egypt or wherever he was. Like, they never really explained it. I feel like here, at least they had.
Really.
What'd you say?
He can go anywhere, really. I mean, it's just within the years of when he lived and when he may or not may not die. That's the real gimmick. Like, he can be anywhere in the world. I mean, for convenience purposes for the show, they try to keep him in the United States so that it makes sense. But yeah, then they throw him to London, then they throw him to Egypt. He could have gone, and then of course when he was jumping in Lee Harvey Oswald's body, he was in Russia, and then he's also been in Vietnam. So
that's the reason, Vietnam. What would have happened if you would have gone to France, to a place that everybody speaks French, but he didn't speak French?
I think he does speak French, though.
You're right. He probably does speak French. Okay. Some village in Africa where he doesn't speak their language. Okay, it would be
sure. Like, he goes to the Republic of Congo, or it was normally Zaire at that time. So yeah, maybe he's there. Maybe he's at some sort of European camp, and he's like an envoy in that area. I don't know. There's lots of possibilities to kind of make it work.
In any case, all I'll say is that it was very convenient that most of the time he was in the U.S. But I will say that here there was a better explanation for why they kind of broke the rules. Uh, it was hanging by a thread explanation, but it was just good enough that you let it slide because it's kind of cool seeing him in 1862.
Hmm.
So you kind of accept the explanation. There was one question, and we'll get to it, I guess, when we start looking at the episode itself that I had, but we'll get to it because it's a bit strange. Maybe the only thing in the episode, or one of the only things that kind of stood out that I'm like, that's a strange explanation, but we'll get to it. Aside from that, though, this is a unique episode. He leaps into a family member of his in 1862. It's in the middle of the Civil War, which is kind of interesting.
Hmm.
It did something that I felt that a lot of episodes, especially this season, didn't do. And I kind of enjoyed seeing that. So many times this season we've talked about like the swings that they took from the pressure from the network to do things differently, and I feel like this episode tries a lot of different swings, including the part where there's a sort of historical figure of sorts. We can speak about that at the end.
Hmm.
But as opposed to so many other cases where they've attempted it, even this season, where it felt over the top or too forced or not in place, I actually felt that this one played out in a way that was rather tasteful, personally.
Well, I mean, it wasn't really all. I mean, from memory serves, it was more about the conflict of the Sam and his great great grandfather meeting a woman and he needs help, and there's also a slave that's trying to escape that is also nearby, and it was more about the relationship dynamic between those three characters than it was about I mean, it didn't feel like it was as heavy on this what the causes were of the Civil War as you would say something more contemporarily written today. um it also did do I mean, like with a lot of Civil War shows, they always reach out to Civil War reenactors, um which are I've met a number of them. They're a blast to hang out with. They know tons about the Civil War. The only thing that the ones that I met didn't do is they wouldn't take much cover when they're doing the front lines. They just kind of, and this show kind of does it as well. They're just kind of standing straight there, easy targets, hold up their muskets, they fire, and then they roll back. And that was kind of a rarity from what I learned about the Civil War with their tactics. There would be cover. There'd be trenches or not big on trenches, but some trenches and blockades and things to, hide behind so that, they would survive the battle as best they could.
Right.
But yeah, he gets shot and then, kind of, if I remember correctly, he gets shot and then he finds his way onto uh, this property of a Confederate supporter. And yeah, he's technically behind enemy lines. He's got to figure out a way to survive and get out and find out what he's here to do.
True. The thing is that I felt that there was kind of a bit of stakes in this episode somehow, even though you think to yourself it's a family member, maybe it's going to be okay, but you're not 100% sure why he's even there, and
Mm-hmm.
you, if nothing else, don't want him to mess something up, and that even creates almost like a Back to the Future type of vibe.
Yeah, it a little does. Yeah,
A
I
little
mean,
bit.
it's almost like a paradox. Like, did this happen because Sam leapt back, or did it always happen this way? And Sam's just here to fix something else. But I mean, that's one of the weird aspects of Quantum Leap is, especially since this season, it's like the reason our history is the way is our history is because Sam had leapt there, and Al and him know the different history. This goes back to the John F. Kennedy and the Jackie Onassis bit from the Lee Harvey Oswald set of episodes. It also goes into what we just did with Norma Jean, where she died a couple years later so she could make the Misfits. This seems to be the gimmick of this season. Every couple episodes, they'll do something where history is changed to what we recognize it as it should be because of the actions of Sam.
True. But this one, I feel like they managed to explain why he was there without I mean, again, there's a little bit of Jackie O happening in this episode, which we can analyze at the end. But as opposed to the Jackie O and the Marilyn Monroe versions, I feel like here it's done more tastefully.
Excuse me. Yeah.
But we'll get. Let me find the file, and I think we're here, we're sharing it, and then we'll be the leap home.
I mean, yeah, it's all based on the speculation of like he's here because I guess Sam's genome is more closer to his great grandfather than they initially realized, which is kind of interesting because 100% of our DNA is 50% are each of our parents, and then 100% of their DNA is 50% of each of their parents. So there's 25% of a grandparents is in you, and then it just keeps on going into a smaller percentage. But for Sam, I guess it went 90% to 50 and then 90 again. I guess I don't know. It's a weird explanation, but it's a fun one that they're kind of playing around with this.
I like that they even tried it, and sometimes like you kind of just let things slide. That's what I was saying. That I like the fact that it wasn't a simulation. Roe, who had never seen the episode, he thought that this meant that he was in one of those kind of reenactments. But
Oh
then,
yeah.
nope, they immediately tell you this is in 1862. They don't play games. This is like the real deal. He's here, and I also this part that there's his soldier is dying, and he's like Captain Beckett, and he's thinking to himself, Captain Beckett, and I really like how this unfolds. We've seen so many episodes this season that I feel like the writing wasn't adequate enough. I feel like here already stakes. He's in the middle of this battle. Then there's a guy who calls him Captain Beckett, and he's like, "Wait, Captain Beckett," and that's already a little bit of a mystery. And unlike a J.J. Abrams mystery, which you hear a mystery and it never gets solved,
That's not a mystery. That's just it's a setup without a payoff.
Right. That's really it. You know what? J.J. Abrams shouldn't be calling it mystery boxes. It's a setup without payoff boxes.
Oh, no, I mean that's exactly what it is. It's like, oh, I've got this idea. Great. How do you stick the landing? Landing? What?
Right. But he calls it a mystery box, I guess. I don't know.
Well, that's how he markets the setup without a payoff, right? Like you got to sell the thing you can't do to make it sound interesting and good so that people will buy it. And then by the time they get it, well, they've got snake oil as opposed to something of any use.
Absolutely. So he's here. They're in this
They're in the skirmish. Yeah.
skirmish, yeah, and he gets shot also.
Yeah, he gets shot in the shoulder.
Right, and they're looking for him and he's running away. This is the part that he gets shot. Also interesting. Also immediately stakes. You know what I mean? He's here. Now you're not even sure. First of all, they don't immediately tell you that that's the great grandfather, but even if you're considering that that could be an option, you're not sure if Sam was even supposed to get shot. And interestingly, we don't really know much about the original history. So it's not like we know if he's messing it up or not.
Yeah, I mean there's a lot of ambiguity here that allows for Sam to have a little bit more to play with, and he doesn't really know what's going on at all, and neither does Al. Like nobody over at the Project Quantum Leap can understand what's going on here, but Sam manages to take refuge in a barn on a nice establishment, and I think we're gonna see the two extra characters
Right,
that
but
are going to be anchoring the rest of the story.
There's something here that also we don't see this part, but he later says, "I saw some people there. There were other people like with the slaves or whatever it was." He said there was other people there, and interestingly, we don't even see that scene. So it's just something that he says. I think now he sees that he's John Beckett.
Yeah, he sees his letter of orders, I guess.
And then this is where Al appears. And Sam, thank goodness we found you. And then this is the part that I wanted to ask you, because they're like, we need to take a DNA from the guy in the waiting room. But is the guy in the waiting room really, does it matter what his DNA is? Isn't his DNA Sam's DNA?
I mean, it's definitely a part of it. But again, this goes back to the breaking of their own quantum leap lore. Like the guy in the waiting room is in Sam's body or not, or like, again, what is it now? Up until this point, it's like Sam's mind and soul is moving from body to body, which is why every time, it goes to every time. If he's a kid who's like under 6 feet, he's under 6 feet, right? And he's wearing the kid's clothes, and the kid's clothes doesn't change, because if it was actually physically his body there, an illusion, then every time he'd be in a teenager or a woman or of a smaller stature, the clothes would never fit. But they do. So the question you have to ask yourself is, well, what is it? Like, is the technology of Quantum Leap so advanced that it can alter the molecular structure of clothing so that it can fit around his body, or is it just his soul and mind going into another body and he's just kind of living it out that way?
I wish they would have.
The writers haven't had this kind of established for the first 4 seasons almost, and then completely threw it out for season 5.
Right. I mean, I don't love that they didn't. There were a few things that the writers sort of fudged throughout the series. There's another one. In the beginning, if you remember when Sam was a woman, it was suggested that Al, when he sees Sam, he sees the woman.
Yes.
But then at a later episodes, it sort of shifted to make it seem like Al sees Sam as Sam. Nobody ever explained how that happened. I kind of tried to research and look back, and I can't find a moment where they explain why he suddenly sees Sam as Sam. It's as if somebody just said in the writer's room, listen, let's just make it so that he sees Sam as Sam. We'll never bring up that lady thing again. Let's just imagine that it was fixed. But for me, I really wish if they would have done something where he says we fixed it.
Well, there is one episode where they do a change, and that is the Christmas episode, the Christmas Carol episode, where he's the butler, and you have the guy that has to buy the he flirts with the Salvation Army head, and and Al becomes the ghost of Christmas Future or whatever. Well, they had to realign the brainwaves so that Al and Sam could talk without the other guy being able to see Al, and then they went back so that they could scare the guy into being normal. You could use some headcanon and say, well, when they did that, they managed to recalibrate the brainwave so that Al can see Sam as he is, as opposed to just the body he's inside or the person he's inhabiting.
First of all, that's brilliant. I actually think that that's a brilliant explanation. But I would have even thought it was more brilliant if they actually would have just said it. Sam, this solves all of our problems.
Yeah, it would. Hey, you look like you. I look like me? Yeah, you look like you. You don't look like the butler anymore. Oh.
Right, exactly. It would have been really easy. But okay, maybe they probably figured that the woman episode was such an early one that maybe people don't even know, and bringing it up may confuse them even more. Because don't forget it, those days, people weren't streaming this, or not everybody was getting like VHS or DVD sets or whatever it was. There wasn't DVD yet, but you know what I'm trying to say. At the time, people really relied on broadcast viewings. And I think that if there were some people that weren't familiar with the show in its early episodes, they just figured they won't mention it. I assume. So he's in this barn, and then he's trying to figure out what he's doing there. But like you said, Al doesn't know a lot. Trying to see if Al says anything interesting.
I can't remember this one here, because again, I haven't been able to see the episode. Even scrolling through a little bit of the script here, got to let it digest a bit. But yeah, at this point here, Al's just like, okay, well, stay put, try and stay, don't get caught, because you're behind enemy lines in Virginia, and we'll figure out what's going on, and we'll be right back. Of course. Everything that Al tells Sam not to do, it happens to him.
And then this is the part also where he's like, John Beckett,
Al, there was a John Beckett in my family, and he fought in the Civil War. He was my great-grandfather. I'm my great-grandfather.
And then he's like,
it's the only reason I can figure out why I could leap outside my own lifetime. It must have been some kind of genetic transfer or something.
And then they go and they do like these, like, asked to get a blood profile on John Beckett. This is the part that's really, really strange. But then this lady, who ends up being his, great grandmother, she shows up.
Well, he doesn't know it's his great grandmother yet.
No, he doesn't know yet.
She's like 20. I think she's supposed to be like 25 here.
22, I think. Oh no, sorry,
She's
24.
married
You're
at
right. You're right.
22. I remember she was
She
married at 22, and her husband died
died, and
in
that's
the
why
war
she's
a couple of years
24.
after. So,
I'm not familiar with this actress, but I thought she was kind of good, actually.
no, I mean she has some spunk and an edge to her, which works out well for some good romantic, neat, cute contrast.
It worked well. I actually, and it was a complicated situation because obviously Sam, he can't really do something that's totally inappropriate. The fact that he's his great grandfather and that's his great grandmother, that would be like a Back to the Future situation. So he
If
does
it was his
enough to.
body, though, like if it was his real great grandchild body there, yeah, that'd be wrong. But if it's his soul in his great grandfather's body, he's not genetically in that position, connected to his great grandmother. But the next stage is that he can't really commit because mind and soul, that's his great great grandmother.
Right. I mean, there's still something a bit awkward about developing a romantic connection with your great grandmother, even though it seems like he probably didn't meet her and didn't really know her, but it's still a strange situation to be in,
Yeah.
I would think. But I thought it was handled rather gracefully. And then there's Isaac, and basically at the beginning they're very hostile towards him, and they're like, it seems like, obviously they're against him, and he's like, I don't like them Yanks or whatever it is that she says.
Nobody likes the Yanks in this neighborhood. Even Isaac has some apprehensions about him.
I wouldn't trust a word out of you, stinking mouth, Yankee mouth, even if you told me the peaches were sweet in the summer.
That's what the lady says. And they take him outside. She's like,
We're going to hang you in the morning.
Yeah, gonna hang you in the morning, but first let's patch you up.
Yeah, but then she patches him up, which he finds kind of weird. He's like, doesn't understand why she wants to kill him, but also she's helping him. And the other thing is, I think here he probably tells her about Isaac and how he saw that there were other, he thought that they were slaves, there were other people there. And something like that, right?
Well, this is oh gosh, okay.
First of all, there's something that she put some kind of like mustard
poultice. I remember that.
On him.
That's poisonous.
Because then he's like,
I gotta do it so there won't be gangrene.
It's like, that's not really gonna. Okay. No, I think this. Okay. I think this is the episode. I mean, it has to be the episode. It has to be the episode where, Sam talks about seeing other slaves, but we don't see any until after.
Right, that's interesting. That they could have put a little shot of him seeing it, but they don't even do that. He just tells her, which is interesting.
They don't do that because I think she only knows of Isaac is on her property. I don't think she knows what is going on her property, which is that, and this is a little bit of a spoiler at this point, which is that Isaac is an operative in the Underground Railroad, and the reason Sam saw the slaves is because they were coming to that place before they moved on to their next part to get out of the South and into the North, and it was all being done under the woman's back, because if she knew about it and then the soldiers found out that she knew about it, she would be executed.
Right. And then Sam says, like,
good thing you got Isaac and the others to help. And she's like, there are no more others.
That's right.
And then that's she's delirium. I don't know if he says
delirium makes a person see a lot of things.
I don't know if he says it or she says it. In any case, what happens is then like Al shows up and he's like, you got to admire Olivia Covington, married at 22, widowed at 24.
Oh yeah. There it is. Yep, there you go. And still wears very clean, pretty dresses.
I like the actress. I mean,
yeah,
I think that they made her look. I can't really explain it. They didn't go over the top, like she wasn't like Brooke Shields or anything, but I thought that she looked she looked good for the part. You know what I mean?
She has a little bit more of a contemporary look about her, but it worked for her. I'm just looking her up right now because she does look familiar. I'm trying to see what else I've seen her in. Okay. Oh, this is Kate McNeil. Oh, I can't. Oh, she was in. Yeah, she's a character actor. She's been in a bunch of stuff, but nothing like steady, like as far as I can think of. Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's still acting. She's in a few episodes of As the World Turns.
That's like a soap opera, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
And she's been in a number of first seasons that just didn't make it to the second. That's basically it. So she's a good character actress, pretty.
I don't have the right look for a soap opera, but it would have amused me if somebody ever put me on one. I don't know why. I think that it would be like probably funny. I don't even know if it was supposed to be funny, but I think that it would somehow come out that way.
Yeah.
It would amuse me. I don't know who else would like it, but I would be very amused seeing myself in a soap opera. So, what do you think of this scene, that the mirror thing?
I mean, it's interesting. Definitely they got an actor that was a lot younger than Scott Bakula to try and show the point of the conflict here. He kind of looks. They got an actor that kind of looked like he could be a relative of Sam's. I mean, they got the same type of jaw and nose, which is pretty good. But you can tell here that this actor is definitely like 6 inches shorter than Scott Bakula.
They could have let him stand on a book or something.
Be it Apple Box.
But it's done pretty okay, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Sam takes over tending to his wound.
Right. And then I'm trying to see if there was what else. And then he confirms. He's like, Ziggy says it's a genetic fields transference.
Okay.
By the way, I feel like earlier seasons, is it just me or Ziggy was a male, and by the time we're here, they're just like sometimes they call it a she? Am I wrong?
Yeah, they switched genders for Ziggy ever since season 4, where we find out it has a woman's voice.
It's very strange. That's another thing that wasn't really well explained, and they're just like, kind of Ziggy transitioned.
Maybe just got an upgrade or a downgrade or I don't know, whatever direction you want to take.
Whatever direction you want to take.
New operating system. It got a new operating system.
Got a new operating system. I'll accept it. Maybe initially the voice was like some raspy low male voice, and then they changed it to the. But you know what? Isn't the announcer basically the same voice as Ziggy? It's Deborah Pratt.
Yeah, it's Deborah Pratt plays Ziggy.
It sounds like Ziggy. So really, Ziggy was always a woman, if you think about it.
Yeah. But I mean, in those early episodes, early seasons, they constantly refer to Ziggy as a he.
Very strange.
Mm.
In any case, Al confirms that it's like, congratulations, you're a great grandfather.
You're a great grandfather, yeah.
So, yeah, and basically, this is the part where he has to make sure he doesn't mess up this thing with his great grandmother.
But there's a lot of issues going on. For starters, you've got the Confederate Army looking for. Oh no, wait, yeah, it's the fire. The fire.
First, there's a fire, yeah. So they go out, but here he's like, "Unlock me, let me help," and then like she does it, and they go and they do all this kind of water thing, and they manage to save the barn. And
don't know how the fire started, but they managed to put it out.
I think she says a shell hit it or something like that.
Oh, okay.
It was hit by something, and that's how it caught fire. And then these guys show up, and they're like, "We're looking for some Yankees there that are roaming free. Have you seen any?" And she's like, "No, not at all." And he's like, I'm just her cousin from Tennessee.
Yeah, why are you here? Shouldn't you be in uniform? Well, I'm on leave, sir. I got shot in the shoulder, and General John Adams, gave me a reprieve. So I'm here with my cousin who nearly killed me to recuperate before I return to the front line thing. If I remember, I think that was what he was talking
That
about.
was pretty much it. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was it with John Adams. It's all true. A very far-fetched explanation. I would have probably not believed it if I'm that other guy, but somehow he just barely accepts this stupid explanation.
Mhm.
Even Scott Bakula here tries to do a little bit of an accent, like he's from Tennessee.
And Al quickly like punches up data for him to use to to
Right,
make his
right.
story
He's
fit.
like, you're in the 6th division, you're in this, you're in that, and like they're giving him different things to say to this guy that makes him seem more legit. And I thought that was pretty good. Even this like douchey actor, he seems familiar, and I feel like I've seen him before somewhere as a douche.
Yeah, he looks familiar. Let me see. That's Jeffrey Lauer. He was
as a shell hit the barn. Yeah, I said something like that.
yeah, yeah. He was in Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman. He was the Reverend.
I see.
Yeah,
Well,
for like
here he kind of
100 episodes or so.
has a douchey vibe to him.
Well, I mean, he's got an obscenely
there are
coiffed
lots of-
hair and 5 o'clock shadow, and they put powder in his beard. You can tell because it's way too finely trimmed and cut for the era.
You're right.
Yeah, that's an old technique. So if there's actors that grow their beard, but it's not, if it has like a little bit of patchy spots and stuff, they'll put in like a powder to kind of cover it up and spread around some of the, because there's some hair that's like very, very transparent, like it's either fine blonde or near white, and they powder it up and then they do an etching line to make it look nice and clean, but it also looks very fake and artificial at the same time.
I guess so. It doesn't look like a stick-on beard though, but I can
No,
understand what you're
it's not.
saying.
No, it's just old school like brush makeup. It's really quickly done.
I didn't mind it. It looked fine, I guess. But I guess you're right. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I didn't really think about it until you said it.
Yeah, but it does give him the whole sinister look going on, especially
does.
with his hippie hairstyle.
Yeah. Something about it, like he does. I think he does this douchey thing well, personally. And then he accepts the explanation, and he's like, "Why did you help me?" or something like that.
Well, yeah. Well, she helps him because she finds him attractive, and he's just like, "Well, why'd you help me?" He's like, "You saved my barn." No, it's got to be more than that. No, I'm not gonna. I have two. Oh gosh, she had a couple. She had things that she could use him to do because, and this is where we figure out that the only slave she has is Isaac.
The only what is she has? She has what?
Yeah. The only slave she has, the only other person to help on her property is Isaac. It's just her and Isaac. There's no one else. And then we come to this scene and we see. Oh, there's runaways here, but the ladies, is it Olive or Lively? I can't remember her name. Olivia. That's just
Olivia Covington.
Yeah, Olivia has no idea that this is part of the Underground Railroad, but this is the reveal where Sam realizes, oh yeah, this is the Underground Railroad, and then it's either this scene or it's the one in the fourth act where Sam tells the slaves that it's going to be rough for the next few years, but eventually everyone's going to have rights and be free. I can't remember if it's this scene or the one in Act 4.
Tex Rogers has an issue. This is a bit hard to take. The baby was crying loudly enough to be heard in the house, but no one else heard it. There were patrols around.
And that's it. Yeah, it's an interesting note.
Interesting, Tex.
Not unless the kid cried like a raccoon that was dying.
Price of Reason Live trivia. The bridge in the opening scene is the same bridge used in the line attack and one strobe over the line located in Walt Disney's Golden Ranch in California. Did not know that. Tex Rogers suspects that she does know about these people there. And Ron Donofrio agrees that it's a plot hole. Dead Man says this guy reminded him of Jason Patrick. Oh, Scott was showing off what would become his NCIS accent. You know what? You're right. That's how he does sound on NCIS, and I don't always love it that much. I just want
it doesn't feel right.
Listen, he's a good enough actor. He does that thing, but it's almost like too much on NCIS. I don't know why he needs to talk like that. I really would prefer that he just talk like Sam Beckett. Probably I would already like NCIS New Orleans like about 10 times more if he just sounded like himself.
Mm-hmm.
Why did they want him to do that? I thought it was stupid.
I think Scott Bakula was also producer on NCIS, so he probably got to choose a little bit of control of how he did his role. But I don't know. Maybe Scott's like, I've been saying my normal region-free dialect for 40 years. Let me have some fun. And so he got to have some fun.
Right, but he really had to commit to that for like all those episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Where is he originally from, by the way?
Scott Bakula? It's probably from New York.
He's from St. Louis, Missouri.
Missouri, okay. So not quite, but commonplace for a lot of actors to come
Maybe it gave him a chance to do a little bit of his St. Louis, Missouri. Maybe that's like originally how he once talked. Do you get what I'm saying?
I don't know if that's a Missouri accent that he was doing on NCIS.
I mean, I don't know the difference, man. To be honest with you, I haven't spent a lot of time in St. Louis, and I haven't spent a lot of time in New Orleans. I wonder to myself if I've ever been to any of those. I probably, as a kid, have been to at least one. Maybe New Orleans. That sounds familiar as a young kid, but I don't really know much of anything.
Well, I've been to New Orleans a few times because I have relatives that were there. They used to be part of the Acadian culture up here in Canada, but during the post-Revolutionary War, a lot of them ended up moving down and creating the Cajun culture in New Orleans, and that's my relatives are part of that. And Cajun accent is pretty thick.
Scott's regret is that he couldn't find the right NOLA accent. Yeah, I don't know. Did he? I don't know which one he did, what he was trying to do there. Never heard him talk about it. But I don't know what to say. But this is like an early NCIS Scott Bakula accent. I agree. So here he sees them, and this is where he knows that there's like other people there and the baby. And I think this is also a part where like he tells and this also had a little bit of a Back to the Future moment. In the sense that he's like, no, like, everybody's going to be able to vote. You're going to be able to do everything. It's all going to be fine. One day, like, it'll all be different. And it's a bit different than the thing with the mayor, but it was just an interesting scene. I liked how they built this up. It wasn't too obvious that this guy would end up being, the grandfather of the other guy, the great grandfather of the other guy, whatever this is intended to be, but or grandfather. But I thought this was interesting, and at no point here did they suggest that he would be tied to Martin Luther King. They saved that really for the end.
They do, but they bring up the whole idea of like he calls what you're saying as a dream, and like
right, that is true. He's like, man, that sounds like a dream. That was a little bit of a hint. I think that maybe even when I watched it the first and second time, I'm like, wait a minute. But still, even then, it wasn't like a complete. It could have gone in a few different directions.
Mm-hmm.
In any case, it was still done elegantly. I like how this was done. And I'll tell you some more about that afterwards. Here, this is the part where he's trying to fix one of her pumps because that's,
Right, the pump. That's the one. Okay, that I was trying to remember.
I'm only keeping you around so you can fix my pumps.
Which is a strange thing to say.
Well, I mean, in the 1980s, you'd think that meant fixing her shoes. It's like,
right, exactly. So this is the thing where they try together. They're kind of this is the strange thing. Yeah. Here they're kind of pumping around. Pumping each other. What am I looking for here, script?
I mean, they're canoodling a little.
In any case, that was very inappropriate. I apologize for for anybody in the audience that heard me speak inappropriately. I feel like a few people ran away. They're like, what is he talking about? In any case, the funny thing in this scene is he seemed to then have water, but I didn't actually see him fix the pump.
Well, I think he had to have done something with. No, I think he probably pretended to fix the pump because there he is with like the wrench there and nothing's really happening.
Because the thing is that suddenly he's drinking. Now, if he's drinking, doesn't mean that the pump works.
Now it does, I guess.
You know what's strange for me? This is the only thing that comment, and I don't have many in this episode like this, but I feel like there wasn't a eureka moment of like, here, I fixed it. And she's like,
Wow, I love it when a man fixes my pumps.
like, I didn't see like a moment like that, which I thought would have added a little bit to their relationship. Instead, like, it seems like the pump is working, but nobody's even acknowledging that.
Mm-hmm.
Very strange. I do feel like a shot is missing here. Something is missing in the scene for me.
It feels a little abrupt, I guess. Yeah.
If he didn't drink from it, I would think he just never was able to fix it. But because he drinks from it, you think he fixed it, but they never really acknowledge that.
No, they don't.
I think this is where Al explains. Are you looking at the script? What is it here? Something about the slaves running away.
I think this is the part of the story where Al lets him know that, like, Sam says, yes, this is a part of the Underground Railroad, and Al's like, yeah, your job is to try to keep the slaves. We think your job is you're trying to keep the slaves away, but primarily your job is to make sure that Miss Olivia falls in love with you so you can be born. So your grandparents can be born, and then your parents can be born, and then you can be born.
Right, I agree with you.
I'm pretty sure that's what this is. We'll have to let the chat correct us because I unfortunately was not able to watch this episode, so I'll probably be watching it after the show.
No, you're doing great, by the way. You're doing great. Like, I watched
This
it
is all
today, and
memory,
you're doing
too.
better than me. So
Yeah.
sorry I offended people that are saying that Lisa Katrine said they're pumping iron. In any case, careful, Sam. That's your great grandmother. And
Yeah.
Ron Donofero agrees with you.
Oh, thanks.
Okay, so this is the part where I think Sam's like, find out the path that they can take that's the safest for them, or something like that. He's like, but you gotta make your grandmother fall in love with you. And he's like,
Don't worry, Sal. Leave that to me.
I'll find a way. And then, oh yeah, the dinner date.
right. Then he does this dinner thing.
They do. I think they dance, if I remember.
Right. First, she's like,
This is the first time I saw a man.
oh wait,
This is the first time I ever saw a white man in an apron.
Oh, there's that too. Yeah.
there is something like that. And then he's like,
Does that piano over there work? Like, well, anybody could play it. You just press the button.
and then
Oh
he's
yeah,
like,
it's the player piano. That's right.
right, it's a player piano. And like I said, she looks, I like how she looks. I think that this was really good casting.
Yeah, no, I mean, she's a good. I mean, I take a look at her profile over on the IMDb there, she's got 64 credits, which is pretty good for 30 years, or a little bit more than 30 years. So she's a working actress, and she's still working as recently as 2021. So it's not unheard of for her to pop up again anytime soon. So yeah, no, and she has great chemistry with Scott Bakula.
She does, but there's a bunch of things going on here. Tex Rogers says, by the way, Olivia was wrong when she said that they would hang Sam. Enemy officers were exchanged, not hanged. Another continuity error. Only Sam's father would not have been born, not Sam's parents.
Well, 2 generations of Beckett wouldn't have been born because he's the great-grandfather, right? So it'd be Sam's grandfather and then Sam's father. Yeah.
Yeah, so Nick says slaves is a leap, but he also has to make sure he doesn't Back to the Future himself. Exactly.
I think that's Futurama-ing yourself, because that's the episode where Fry becomes his own grandpa.
Tex Rogers is disappointed with the sloppy errors of the writers here. Matthew McGee. Sam!
This is Richard Sioki did this one, right? That's the name we saw? Let me double check. Sorry.
Oki from the Skokie.
Yeah.
I don't even know what Oki from the Skokie is, but there is such a thing. What is Oki from the Skokie?
Can't remember.
There is something. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
It's a reference. I just don't know what the reference is.
Yeah. So Richard Sioki, this is the last episode he wrote in this season.
He was like an co-executive producer or something like that.
Yeah, I mean he's been a writer since the early '80s, but he's done more writing than producing. But yeah, I think he was. Oh gosh, he worked on the Witchblade TV series. Yeah. And 18 Wheels of Justice. So he's written some tacky stuff for my taste, but if you guys like it, that's not going to cause an argument with me. I love talking about tacky stuff. But yeah, this was his last episode.
There was
he's the creator of Major Dad.
That's
actually a pretty decent sitcom.
Interesting. By the way, it's Oki from Muskogee, which is a country music song. So I knew there was something. I was somewhat close to knowing some reference. Anyhow, so there was another error that piano players were not invented until 1863. This is 1862. Well, what are you going to do? Maybe they got like
pianos? Well, this is a pump action one. Is that? Because I know the automatic ones weren't until later. I know that.
Oh, I see that Matthew McGee actually knew that it was a song. I think it's a song, Price of Reason Live.
Oh, good on you, Matt.
Okie is slang for someone from Oklahoma. Yeah, that I know. But yeah,
that's
it's a
one
song.
thing. We have a place up here in Canada called Muskoka, and that's also sometimes called Okie.
Gerald McCraney was from Major Dad and very good show. Per IMDb, they were invented in 1863. Well, it was close enough, Tex. Maybe they were friends with the company that invented it, and they got an early model before it went officially to market. Her deceased husband managed to finagle one for them pre-market launch. I'm like Script Doctor. That's my headcanon to fix this mistake, Dex. I see we have a $4.99 super chat from the Dead Man. Thank you, the Dead Man. Doing the math, it would be Sam's great-great-grandfather. Oki from Muskie is a
Merle Haggard song.
Haggard song. It's fine. I was close enough. I knew there was a song. I did the best I could. And Ron that's really reaching Price, and Tex Rogers also says that. You know what? Script did it. You were all very happy. I tried my best. I admit that Script's explanation was better than mine, but you know what? With whatever I had to work with, Script, this was the best I could do.
That works.
And Ron and Afero. 2 more and I'll miss again next week. My sister has an art show and I'm going to the opening. Interesting. I was once considered an artist myself. But that's a long story.
Oh.
For a different time.
I had a friend that used to say, I once was considered an artist myself, and then my mother cleaned up my work.
No, actually, when I was a kid, they thought that I was gifted in terms of being an actual artist, but I didn't have the passion for it. I don't even know if it's true or not. I went to certain classes and schools and things that encourage these kind of arts and things, but if you don't really have this kind of drive and passion for it, then maybe it's not the perfect place for you to be.
Oh, no. One of my best friends who's also a screenwriter before he became a writer, he had a knack for being a really good animator and artist. He could do still life, cartoons, the whole thing naturally, just eye to finger connection. But it was so easy for him. He just didn't have a passion for it. But he then got into writing, and then we met at a convention in New York, and we've been friends ever since. But yeah, every once in a while he'll whip up a quick storyboard for an idea he's playing around with and send it to me and a couple of other of our friends, and we're just like, man, this guy's a really good artist. But yeah, he has no passion for scripts, and when he talks about a story that he's read or that he's written, it goes on for like a couple hours straight. But if he draws out a picture, he's like, yeah, I just kind of sketched this together. This is what I'm looking for. You're like, wow, that's fantastic. He's like, yeah, just focus on what I want.
The dead man is like, I'm something of an artist myself. We're all kind of like Willem Dafoe in that meme. And then what was I going to say? So yeah, so they thought I could draw, and the other thing that I was supposedly good at was music, and that I actually was passionate about, and I wanted to pursue that, and I did actually perform back in the day with some bands and things like that, but I don't know. It's very difficult. It's so few succeed in that industry that at the end I kind of went for more of the business side of that, not so much the artist part. And today I sit and I talk to you, Script, on Quantum Leap Visited.
This takes some artistic talent. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, strange how it all evolved. In any case, we're here with they have the romantic moment, and then he starts pumping the thing, and then he goes
phrasing.
Sorry, I didn't mean it. It came out again.
Pumping the piano.
The piano, yes. He wasn't. Never. I'm not going to even say it.
The rest of that has not happened with him here.
So, and this is the part where she's like,
well, he's like, would you like to dance? Well, we can't dance because if you get up, music will stop.
Well, we don't really need music now, do we? And then she agrees.
That's a smooth move too. Like
smooth, yeah, that was smooth. She seems to like it. Also, there's a part that she's like kind of sad because her husband died, and what's she gonna do? And he's like,
you're gonna find a man you're gonna love you, and you're gonna be a woman and a mother and a child and I don't know whatever he says to her.
So, I don't think it's in this episode, but it would have been a great moment of directorial genius if they were able to do a shot where Sam is dancing with Olivia, and then we got in a one shot the version of that in the mirror, and you can see his grandfather dancing with her. That would have been brilliant direction.
That would have been nice. I feel like they didn't go the extra mile here, but it is what it is. Considering
there's a lot of shots just like what you got frozen here in this episode, pretty basic,
right? But you know what? Basic, but it works. There's just a few actors.
Mm-hmm.
But you know why it works? You know why this episode works? Because the way it started, with the fact that it started with him in the middle of the battlefield and getting shot and running away, it establishes enough in your mind that you understand that where he is hiding now is he's hiding, but out there's a war happening. And I like the fact that they did that. This was smart, because if they hadn't done that early scene and had it looked the way it looked, you would have been like, what's he running from? There's no stakes here. What do I care?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I feel like they knew how to efficiently work here by creating some interesting action at the beginning, but then kind of let it be a more intimate episode with just a few actors in just the same house. I think it's well done. I really wish that this season looked more like this episode. Meaning, I wish that more episodes of this season were like this, because there were some hit and misses in this season, but as we're watching it, I feel like there's more misses than hits.
Well, I mean, this is a season otherwise known as like a second chance, because I think they got canceled for season 4 and a letter writing campaign started them up for season 5. And I think they were taking notes from people who are coordinating with network heads saying, yeah, if this show doesn't get a peak in the ratings, to earn, to balance out with all the letter writing campaign that we had, we're not going to keep it going.
I tend to think that the letters were between 3 and 4. And I feel like 4, they gave them a chance and they did okay. But maybe even 4 wasn't like the numbers they wanted. Maybe it was a bit of a dip. Mm-hmm. And they may have told them, listen, we'll give you a season here, but this season better be the best thing that ever happened. You better like jump in the ratings. This better be like a slam dunk, like the biggest slam dunk ever. And like we've also talked before, considering that, Deborah Pratt and Belisario started this series as husband and wife working together, and by the end of it, they were divorced yet still working on this show. I feel like a lot of things changed that probably weren't in the show's favors. Plus, I think that some
Yeah.
executives changed in the network and things like that.
Well, some executive change, the writing staff changed. I will say this though, see, with what they did with season 4, allowing Sam to kind of be back into the present, that should have changed the dynamic of the show from it being an anthology to now a show with like a season arc goal of, oh, we got Sam back this one time. While he's doing these leaps, maybe we should have a subplot story, a through line of us trying to figure out a way to get, now that we had him back, use that data to figure out a way to get him home and see if there's a conflict between the actions that Sam has to do in the past that is different than what he's used to having done so far to try and get him back home. And you don't make it a conflict, like an edgy conflict between like Sam and Al. You just make it like a moral conflict where Al says, okay, if you do this, 96% chance you can do another leap. However, if you do this thing, 86% chance you do another leap, and it's a leap that'll take you like back home. And it's not, and then those two choices are kind of like test Sam's morals. Well, what do I do? Do I stay here and keep, helping people? Or do I do the one thing that's not exactly the best outcome so that I can go home? And then you have that, crisis of faith aspect for Sam, because when we get to the end of the season, there'll be lots of stuff to talk about because the supposed plans for after season 5 kind of link into something more a long story arc over a season, as opposed to just being the episodic formula that we've had for the first 5 seasons.
The dead man says Price also had issues when Nelson Mandela died. That's a bit of lore that I feel like the dead man must have been watching streams or something, because a really long time ago, I believe I talked about this. Not that anybody's interested, but since he brought it up, years ago when Nelson Mandela passed away, I was at a bar drinking, and there was a very festive atmosphere in the bar, and people were drinking. It was that kind of bar, and there was like music and everything. And then suddenly somebody stopped and was like, wait a minute, like, hey, like Nelson Mandela just died. And everybody stopped what they were doing for at least, a few seconds. We all kind of looked at each other, and, we said, like, good old Nelson,
No one in the bar said, wait, didn't he die 20 years ago?
You know what? I think that's probably what went through my mind. I feel like I was surprised that he was still with us, but everybody made like a very serious face. But just like in the movies, when you have like there's like a record scratch, but then kind of it picks up again, the record. You know what I'm trying to say?
I've been in a couple of those moments where something just happens and everybody just stops talking and stares at the person.
Right. So that's kind of like what happened. I mean, of course, we all kind of, we looked at each other with very serious faces. It was a strange moment, though, and I remembered it. And I just like mumbled it one late night. I don't even know why I said it. But from time to time, somebody reminds me of this, or like, just like the day Nelson Mandela died. And I'm like, wow, I can't believe anybody was even awake to listen to me talk about that in the middle of the night sometime. But yeah. Anyhow, so this is the part where Sam is here with Isaac, and he has his
he's pretending that he caught them. Yeah.
Other people that like he's trying to free. But then when these guys show up, like Sam's plan is like, give me the gun. And he's like, yes, I caught him. He's my prisoner. And then he's like, well, we ought to hang him right now. He's like, no, I like to hang people in the morning. That's how we do things in Tennessee. And then he's like,
you're not from Tennessee, right? Doesn't he say something like that?
I think he says,
well, we're not in Tennessee, and I make the decisions around here. I answer to my own captain that's here in the thing. He's like, I outrank you, and you're not going to tell me what to do.
So they have a little bit of a stick swinging. Is that a thing to say?
Yeah, they start doing a measuring contest.
In any case, sorry again for the crude language. Sorry, Nick. And sorry, Sean, of course. In any case, they're here. They somehow convince him that it'll happen in the morning, and he agrees, even though he's annoyed. And then they're here, and they come up with a little bit of a plan, or he comes up. Because
Sam comes
earlier on, and I like, this is good plan
Yeah.
can pay off. It's not the J.J. Abrams kind. It turned out that she had some kind of cognac or armagnac, or I don't know what she had.
She had a hard alcohol.
Right.
And I think, yeah, this is the one where he mixes it in with some coffee and then gets the guys kind of wasted.
Right. His idea is he's getting everybody super wasted with this bottle that she has. And there's also a good part here, which I think there's something that he tells her. I'm trying to think where it is, where he's like,
You and I agree on the same things, and we want the same things here. You're fighting for them as well. We should be working together.
and she's like, yeah.
Yeah.
So in any case, they're here. They do the thing. They this is the part where like, you got to work with me together.
Mm.
Right? Something like that.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, it's like, yeah,
So you
don't
and I
me
believe the same
before.
things, and it's time we started working together. And she's like,
Yeah, like you don't
"Yeah,
believe in what's
okay."
going on here, then you want, if we're gonna get out of this alive, you got to start working together. And I think that was the pitch.
So this is the part where he's like,
I'm coming in here to do me a little feeling up.
and then this is the part where they start giving him all this kind of cognac and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he keeps drinking, and then she's dancing with him. And I think he's even telling her,
There's a reason why I keep coming here to see you, Miss Covington.
and then
Oh yeah, right before he kisses her, Sam does an interruption saying, "I'm going to go give coffee to the troops here." So they
It's
can
kind of
stay awake
dangerous
and be
leaving her
alert
with-
when they do their hanging.
right. It's kind of dangerous leaving her with this guy to begin with, but yeah. So he gives him the coffee. That's a long time for her to leave him with that guy, but never mind.
Well, I mean, these are all kids, so I'm guessing the alcohol hits them like a ton of bricks.
So he's already like making the moves on her, and he's like giving him the thing and knocking him out.
Mm-hmm.
And even Isaac helps him like with a little bit to knock him out there. And then this guy's making the moves. Then he says something like,
I did see that uniform of a Yankee captain inside your barn folded so nicely. I thought maybe I could take something from you.
or something like that. And
he
then
definitely wants to take something from her, and it's not kosher.
right. And then he shows up and he's like,
You took my dead deputy's bull run. That thing hasn't been working since the bull run. But this works.
but then she pushes him and he jumps on him and like beats him up. Surprisingly, I mean, I'm not saying that he needs to kill these guys, but man, these guys could still get up and cause problems. I hope they tied him up or something.
Yeah, that'd be the smart thing to do.
They didn't really show what happened there. But in any case, this is the part where he's like, oh,
I'm sorry you have to leave everything and come with me. And she's like, no, could a man like you ever love me?
a man like me will surely love you forever and ever, or whatever he says.
Yeah, something like that.
And then this part is where, Isaac says, well, now that I'm free, I was thinking to myself, I need to choose the last name. And I was thinking about Beckett and I was thinking about Covington. But you know what? If he ain't too uppity, I think I'm going to call myself King, like, for somebody that feels like a king or something like that.
Freedom, yeah, because he's so free, he feels like a king.
Right. And then he's like, Sam, you're not going to believe this. He has a son named this and that son and Martin Luther King. And then
Then Sam leaps. Yeah.
Then Sam leaps. And then he's here and
he's
he
here.
is Elvis.
It's him as Elvis, isn't it? Yeah.
He's Elvis now. Now, I will say that there have been so many times, even in all seasons, where they attempted to do something like this, where he's sort of brushing against something historical. And I thought that out of all those times, and especially this season, when they tried all this weird Marilyn Monroe and Jackie O and whatever they did, I feel like this is probably one of the better examples that actually works. I can't explain why, But I actually felt that there was something a bit, wholesome and even touching at the end, that the guy that we've seen for this episode ends up being the grandfather of Martin Luther King. I think that it works.
I think that it works too, but I also think it works in the sense that the antagonists in this episode are they're bad because they're just bad people. They're not bad because they're on the Confederate side. Like, that's the one thing that kind of stands out here, is like, these people are, happen to be on the Confederate side, but they are just generally bad people. Like, this guy was going to violently assault Miss Olivia for his own gratification.
And Miss Olivia herself is on the side of the quote unquote bad guys, but it shows that like
She's
there's
a
a
good
more
person. Yeah.
it shows that perhaps there's a more nuanced angle here, that perhaps it wasn't a thing that every single person agreed about the issue, and that there were bad people like those guys,
Mhm.
and probably a lot of them, but it still showed that maybe it didn't mean that everybody was bad. And
It wasn't a blanket statement across the whole population.
so there was that angle of it, and I've seen that even in earlier seasons, like with the Driver in the South, one of the early seasons, like season 1, maybe
Mhm.
it's called The Color of Truth. I don't remember now. I think that even there, the easy route would have been just everybody's evil, this guy is getting treated poorly, but instead they really wanted to create this more nuanced picture, so you really feel what it's like
Mhm.
with the different characters and different people in the town, and how some are some are very evil, and some maybe have a kinder side to them, but they're living within a time that whatever's happening is
Yeah.
acceptable, so they're not even thinking to say anything.
There's the conflict between the personal morals of how they treat other people, and then the societal norms that have been those societal oddities that have been confused for norms.
Right.
And we got to see that in a lot of those episodes, where, especially today, in a very hacky writer sense, it would always be one demographic is objectively evil, the other demographic is objectively oppressed within the context of that story, and there's no room for nuance, and there's no person that's going to be on that's going to show that even though they're on the other side, that they're willing to help a person that they disagree with ideologically or anything of that nature. You're not going to see that type of stuff in the more contemporary things that will be coming out on smaller networks. But having worked on about 5 different shows this past summer, there's a lot of room for nuance. And I think a lot of people, if they're able to catch those series, will enjoy them for what they are, but also laugh at some of the hokey and cheesiness aspects of them as well, because nothing's perfect.
I like that Lisa Catran says no roundhouse kick. I thought there would be one, and there wasn't. And then there's a no Southerner would have called it Bull Run. That's from Tex Rogers. Super Mario Brothers 3. This episode received an Emmy nomination for Outstanding Individual Achievement in Sound Editing.
Yeah.
And we again, Super Mario Brothers 3 is now a lady who claims is not AI. Very strange.
So is it Super Marietta?
Michelle Ferry, Price of Reason's voice makes Quantum Leap Revisited so much better. Thank you.
You should just do like Price of Reason lip syncs Quantum Leap, and you just do the episode, but all your audio.
I should try that.
Yeah, do it on like a members thing, right?
It's funny.
You can do a Quantum Leap abridged.
That too, yeah.
So I guess what I was trying, and I like what you're saying, Script, and I want to just bring that point home, is that today, if they try to make something like this, I don't even want to mention like the new Quantum Leap or whatever it is, that terrible show, but they would do this, that everybody that's not, there would be very evil people, the one that were.
It would be like that Watchmen series on HBO that Damon Lindelof almost tried to write and then did terribly.
Yes. It would be very clear of like evil. The other thing is that I feel like throughout the whole episode, they would have like elevated the Isaac character to like super big boss against even the norms of the time. Do you get what I mean? I feel like they found a balance here by showing that he had integrity, and he had something, he was a serious guy that had integrity, but he also didn't, I can't explain it to you, but you know the modern thing that they do where he'd be like, if it was made in 2025, Isaac's character would be giving Sam orders the whole time, and Sam would be like, yes, like getting orders.
I'd say 2023 would definitely be that. I don't know about 2025.
Maybe 2025. I don't know. No, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
if the show was taking place in 2025, none of that matters. I'm just saying that, like, for a
No, I mean,
period
if they
piece-
wrote it and directed it in this year, I don't know if they would actually do that right now based on what I'm seeing. But definitely in 2023 or between 2019 and 2023, they'd definitely be doing what you're describing.
They see what I didn't like about the new Quantum Leap show, and I've said it before. There was something where I think an episode that he's like in 1920 or 1915, and he's a priest, and he goes to some rich family, and their family doctor is a diverse man. The thing is that I wouldn't think that this would be an anomaly in like 2025. It's just in 1915, you'd be hard pressed to find a situation like that. Maybe somewhere on Earth there was like something like that, but it doesn't seem like the norm to me.
It's
And
definitely
I
not
felt
the
like
norm, but yeah, but I think here's the thing: if you were to find it in history, which I'm sure you'll find maybe less than 5 stories of like that if they were properly documented. Now you're getting Quantum Leap into the era of, oh, we're going to use real people in history and change their lives through the show, where it now becomes an inauthentic story because now you're doing some type of political grandstanding on a historical figure, as opposed to telling a compelling story about someone in a certain area doing something great, or our hero doing something great to help people in that community.
Julie Evans says, never seen the new Quantum Leap. Don't really want to either. It sounds like it's too woke for my taste. The word woke is used a lot, and I try many times to not use it every second. But if I were to use it on something, I think that the new Quantum Leap could be considered in that category because
it qualifies.
It qualifies. It's so over the top. And I think that the biggest problem is if you're doing a time travel show and you want to stay true to the periods of times that you're traveling, to try to make it fit with like modern character sensibilities just really cheapens the show and makes it unbelievable. And that's my biggest complaint about the new Quantum Leap. It doesn't matter if the guy is in 1915 or in the 1800s in Salem,
whatever,
or if he's 1970 or he's in 2000, whatever it is, all the characters around him basically act like they're in 2025. Like nothing matters. They just all act like nothing happened. It's the same. It's like there's no period piece feeling to it. And if you can't convince me that he's traveling to different periods of times, then you can't convince me that he's time traveling.
Well, I mean, there's so much. That new show had so much anchored on the present, which made it horrible. If I were to like revamp it right now and keeping that cast as it was, I would fire the blonde guy that wears dresses. I'd fire the girl, and I'd have just Ernie Hudson be the hologram and the actor be the leap, the Asian guy be the leaper, and then just do it that way because at least you got the charisma of Ernie Hudson to kind of work.
That could have worked if they would have just started the show. He's the leaper. He's the hologram. I think they would have found a way to make that work.
Yeah, and keep him as magic. You can have a little wink there as well. But I mean, yeah, if you have a heavy hitter actor like Ernie Hudson and he's available to do the show, and he was, use him.
Right. Completely
and
misused.
Forget the other people because it's not about what's happening in present day. It's about trying to get the guy home, but in doing so, helping a bunch of people along the way.
The disappointed fiance, the quote unquote director of security lady, and the guy that I called a random office guy person,
lazy, crappy, gushy.
Yeah, I mean those three, they only hurt the show. They brought nothing to the table, and they did nothing. I would remove all of them. Plus, the whole idea of having his disappointed fiance as his hologram was a disaster. And then later,
trying to make it like love, two lovers unable to connect type of thing, and it's like no, that doesn't.
It's so shitty. Sorry, Nick. I apologize. I'm sorry I said a bad word, but I couldn't think of another word to say of how much I dislike that. But in any case, Nick, how's it going? You're here with us.
Yeah, I was gonna say, watching this episode, one of my thoughts was, if I were to reboot the show, I would expand it out, with more rules, now that a show like this could have a bigger budget and stuff, and they could go to different time periods, do more. I think this was unique. It kind of got to expand the show out. They gave a reason that works in the classic show. Um, I found they seemed to feel like they needed more justification than the initial thing that Sam hypothesized, because they kept having Al go back and say, "We've checked it, we did this," but I don't really think that was new. I think it worked, but I think in a new show, doing this more. But as to what you guys were talking about with this revisionist history stuff, I think this is kind of the and that word, the quote unquote woke, that will age poorly in future generations. Kind of like Star Trek, very progressive show. We live in a time period now where the 60s show is criticized for its portrayal of women, despite the fact that in that period, during sexual
The sexual
liberation and all that,
revolution, yeah.
like that was empowering to women to be dressed like that and that kind of thing. But now they look back at it and, it was all for the men's gaze. And
Well, that's the ignorant way to look at it, because when the
Right.
women were dressed at that, they're saying, I'm in more control than you are. That's what they were essentially saying from that. It's like,
Yeah.
I can dress this way, and I know just because I dress this way doesn't give you permission to think that I'm like a sure thing or anything. You still got to, woo me and court me in the way that I feel is appropriate, that justifies why I dress this way. Like, I'm dressing this way for myself, and if you are interested, that's great, but you being interested but me being dressed this way doesn't guarantee anything between you and me. And that was part of the better part of the women's movement at that time.
Yeah. But anyways, my thought is, future generations judge it. I look at what they're doing now. In a couple generations, this stuff will be looked upon as bad because it is
not doing
basically negating the things that people went through. It is almost erasing history, and I can see a time period in the future where people will be outraged over it because they will be, this is whitewashing history. This is trying to remove the crimes. This is trying to, change what actually happened and shouldn't be forgotten. And I see it as like it's trendy right now in Hollywood and stuff, but I have a feeling that pendulum is going to swing really hard on that kind of behavior in these shows.
This is going to be looked at, and like we look today at shows that say duck and cover. This is going to seem kind of just stupid and dated and some dumb thing that happened in some dumb period of time. I hope. Or the opposite. This will be like the gold standard, and we're going to be like the...
Oh, no. I
we're
think
going to be the outcasts.
This last 12 years is going to be looked at as the what the heck period of entertainment.
Tracy Alexander says to Matthew Marcello, Cold Case is one of my all-time favorites. You know what? I'm going to tell you something. For some odd reason, I actually like that show. I've seen every episode of Cold Case, and it's not necessarily that there's anything spectacular about the show, but in a way, there's a bit of a time travel feel to it, even though it's not science fiction, because of the way it's made, where they kind of go back in time to show the crime and things that happened, that they reconstruct something that happened 30 years earlier, and then in the present, they're trying to solve it, and they go back and forth between the past and the present. I really like that. And I like also at the end that usually there's a moment where they solve the case, and the main lady, I don't remember her name, Catherine, I don't even know. I don't know if that's the actress's name or the character's name. It doesn't even matter. In any case, you see, like, she looks and she sees like sort of the ghost of those people that she just solved their crime. Really like that. It's like, have you guys ever watched that show, or am I crazy? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I've seen a couple episodes here and there. I'm working on a project that's kind of similar to that. So maybe I'll be able to get paid to watch more shows of that, come up with some different stories for the thing I'm assigned to today.
I like that show. I think that is a solid show. Catherine Norris Price, that's her name. So I don't know. I think that's the actress's name. I don't know what her name is on the show. That's what's funny about these type of shows. I saw every episode of that show. There are probably like 100 of them. Can't
Mhm.
remember the main lady's name even. I remember the actress, at least I remember, because you see her. Somehow my mind took a picture of the Catherine. I remember that, but doesn't even matter. You don't even need to know the names of them. It's like not even relevant as long as you get the vibe of the investigation and everything. As far as like cop procedurals go, that is one of the best ones. Hands down. Like I would choose that over any kind of like NCIS, over any of those like Law and Order or whatever. I would choose that over any of them any day of the week. Another show that's kind of a guilty pleasure, which I watched back in the day and I don't really know why. I mean, that one really was a stretch and there were so many stupid things that happened in it. I'm ashamed. I probably shouldn't say that I watched it. I'm willing to tell you, but nobody that's listening to this can ever tell anybody that I watched this show. Are you ready?
Yeah, Price. Go ahead.
I watched The Ghost Whisperer with Jennifer Love Hewitt, and I'm ashamed of myself that I watched this show, but I found it mildly entertaining, and I don't know why. It was absolutely ridiculous.
I don't think I know that one.
What'd you say?
I said I don't think I know that one.
Basically, there's people that have passed away, but their ghosts are still around. Like, and oh, there's one lady that she could see them. It's Jennifer Love Hewitt. Like, they all want to talk to her.
I mean, it's Jennifer Love Hewitt. Everybody wants to talk to her.
Right. I mean, at least there was that. You know what? At least, they put her in the show, and she was rather likable. She
when
carried
is she
that
not
show.
likable? I mean, I can't remember her ever playing a person you didn't want to keep watching, regardless of her beauty. Just her. I mean, her acting is above average, which helps a lot. But she also has a nice charm about her too.
She had a nice charm about her, and I think it helped. Yeah, I actually. It was just kind of a little bit like mystical enough for me to enjoy it. It kind of felt like if you ever watched the movie Ghost.
Mhm.
It had a little bit of that vibe, but not exactly. But yeah, a woman who basically she has her own shop where she just sells things, but she has this gift that like ghosts, like spirits from the other or whatever, can go talk to her and have her do things. You know what? It was rather decent. Again, as the seasons progressed, there were some really stupid things that happened. Like you have to accept that really dumb things are happening there. I wonder what Nick would say if he watched a show like this. He'd probably be suffering.
Oh no, I've watched some bad TV.
Are you like against like ghost shows? Do you not like ghost shows? I don't remember.
Not really my
I mean, Touched by
forte
an
of
Angel is
like
kind of like a ghost show.
yeah. I mean, I saw Touched by an Angel back in the day. As a kid, I loved the show Ghost Rider. But I mean, like that's not.
The kids show Ghost Rider?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that too. Changing letters on things to solve crimes.
Do you remember Highway to Heaven, Nick?
It's called evidence tampering. But Highway to Heaven with
Michael Landon, yeah.
Michael Landon. Yeah, that was a good show.
That
too.
one I don't recognize. But like that's kind of a premise that isn't something like if I saw a commercial, that's not going to attract me to the show. But I'm not. It depends. Like I've when it comes to like that stuff, like it just tends that fantasy is not. Well, I guess Ghost isn't fantasy. That's more. But I'm more of a sci-fi guy when it comes to that kind of stuff. But there's some things that one I don't recognize. But I mean, like I can't judge you on your TV watching. I made it all but the last 4 episodes of Flash on CW.
Oh, God, I'm so sorry you stuck with that show that long.
Yeah. It's funny, both Arrow and Flash I stuck with till the end and then couldn't complete the last season.
That's almost biblical.
Well, it's funny with Flash. I and this happened to a lot of people. The show was canceled, and like they ran a bunch of advertisements that this was like the end, and there was going to be a big finale, and suddenly the ratings went way up, and then it got renewed. And it did one more season, and then that last season was that was so awful, so awful.
Well, I mean,
That's when they started lightsaber battling with Speed Force.
Oh God, yeah. So fun fact about this. So a couple of times I was invited to go to the Flash set and talk to them, and they were pretty horrible. I made fun of Todd Helbring, because I think, I made fun of Todd Helbring, and then who's the other guy? I think it was Eric something. I can't remember. It had to have been Eric, but Todd Helbring. They did the Crisis on Infinite Earth stuff, and a colleague of mine is like, "Hey, you want to go down to the Flash set in Vancouver?" And because they're doing the Crisis on Infinite Earth stuff, and I was like, I don't know. I mean, that's kind of a lousy CW show. It's like, yeah, but free food, you get to network and go down there. So I went down there, and I find out like how they're going to end the Crisis on Infinite Earth stuff, and it's literally like they're going to stand shoulder to shoulder and concentrate. It's like you're a television show. You've combined 5 different shows' budgets for this big grand special, and your finale for this Infinite Crisis on Earth is concentrating. You're not going to show anything visually.
You know what though? Did you ever watch the Crisis on Infinite Earth crossover?
It was like 5 episodes, I think, right?
5 or 6. I think some of them had 2 episodes.
Yeah, I remember seeing like a bunch of them at.
I think it was 2 episodes apiece because it was all the shows over 2 weeks.
Yeah,
but I didn't even remember that was the end. I just remember how angry I was because they brought back pretty much every CW level show from the past.
And John Wesley Shipp and Brendan Routh.
Well, yeah, they brought Brendan Routh, and but like they brought in Tom Welling.
Oh yeah.
And so they basically said that he chose not to have superpowers, and him and Lois Lane just live on the farm being farmers.
Yep. With 2 little girls.
They brought in Kevin Conroy to play live action Batman, and he is the Batman that killed Superman.
Yep.
And he was a villain. And it was like, you make him live action, you made him a villain. But there was
just quickly, we should really sum up the episode because we only have a few minutes left. I love this.
Yeah,
I'll just say I got blocked off of social media by a couple of Flash and Arrow showrunners. Both my real account, which I barely use, and then my Script Doctor account. And they don't know that I'm the Script Doctor, but it was funny.
It was like they pulled in, like they even brought the Birds of Prey back just to murder them.
Oh, they brought back Dina Meyer? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Just quickly.
To blow them up.
We only have 5 minutes, so we have to sum up everything.
Okay.
Script, how did you feel about this Quantum Leap episode, the leap between states? What did you think?
I thought it was a pretty decent episode, a little bit of a throwback to what the show is really about, with its cool, strange attractor of being out of the Lifetime set. But yeah, that's just going off of memory because I'll have to rewatch it after the show because I had to only go by the images and a little bit of the script link that you had in my memory. But I remember enjoying it. It's not one that I always go back to, but it's not one I would turn off if I saw it pop up on TV.
Okay, cool. So that's your thoughts. Nick, how did you feel about this episode?
This might actually make it into my top 20. Maybe. I don't think it'll make it top 10, but close. I really appreciated this. Was, despite it being kind of a new big swing in the mechanic of it, it did feel like a return to norm. I loved that, he had what the leap was, but he also was trying not to pull a Marty McFly and somehow undo his existence, and had to make sure that she still fell in love with him despite his actions during this leap. and I liked how it displayed the whole situation with the ones in the South, showing that in modern history they presented as if this was just a conflict over nothing but slavery, which that was a big issue, but that wasn't the only thing, and it shows how people can be of a political party different than you, and that doesn't mean that they're evil and they believe in everything that you perceive that party as evil, which is something of when this airs that is a lesson that is very good. So, or when we're airing our podcast. So I liked it. I liked it a lot.
I agree with you, and I told Script at the beginning, I've only seen this episode twice before the third time that I watched today. It's an episode that for some reason I didn't heavily watch throughout the years or growing up. Maybe I didn't have it recorded on VHS or I don't know what. But now that I revisited it and I watched it, I thought to myself, you know what? This is a pretty decent episode. And I don't know if it would be in my top 10 or 20. I would have to think about that. But I think that if it was suddenly in my top 30, it could be there. It's an episode that I enjoyed. I genuinely enjoyed it. I didn't feel there were a million plot holes, even though, yes, the piano Tex Rogers was from 1863 or whatever. But for the most part, I thought that they did pretty well with it. And overall, I thought that it was an enjoyable episode. We only have 2 episodes left.
Mm-hmm.
We have the next week that he's Elvis, and then we have the final episode. And after that, we're still going to do some episodes with ranking and going over, talking about each season and about the highlights of each season. So we're going to have some interesting conversations. But for now, just want to thank everybody. Thanks, Script Doctor, for being here, and thank Nick for joining us. And thank you all in the chat. There's the shout-outs. Tex Rogers, thank you to Murrockstraw that's helping me with this. Tex Rogers, Michelle Ferry, Matthew McGee, Rhonda Nefero, Tracy Alexander, Lisa Katrayan, Kit Kat, Matthew Marcillo, Julie Evans, The Dead Man, and then shout-outs to Marla Sharondoff, Tolinsky 10, Super Mario Brothers 3, Backyard Tardis, Script Doctor, and Price. Thank you all for everything, and I guess we're going to sign off now.
Later, guys.
Bye.
I'm such an awesome guy. I make so many videos. And my friends are awesome too. They make so many videos. I'm such an awesome guy. I make so many videos. Now we are an awesome group making live streams for you. I'm